Yes, guys, welcome back to the channel. Big news today. Nottingham Forest have sacked their manager, Nuno Espirito Santo. And who's his replacement? Who's next up on the list? No one other than Big Ange Postecoglou. Mr. Marinakis is at it again, a complete 180 in tactics, from a clean defense-first counter-attacking football to the gun-ho maestro himself, Big Ange. Like, wow. Honestly, my initial thoughts, I'm shocked. Really shocked. Because I know this is a Spurs channel, why are we talking about Forest? But you gotta realize that this is Ange Postecoglou, the man who won us our first trophy in 17 years, first European trophy in about 41 years. Like, he's always going to have a massive place in my heart as a Tottenham manager who's brought us our first trophy in my fandom lifetime. Let's just say it like that. I began supporting Spurs in 2015. And so this is my first trophy that I got to experience. Crazy stuff. And it's just so crazy. I'm shocked. I really am shocked. Almost lost for words. Nuno's excellence, but also his problematic comments on Forest's preparation during the summer is what got him fired. It was what lost him his job. He was very open about his disagreements with how the transfer window was going this summer, which is weird to me because it seemed like he was getting backed really good. Like, they kept Morgan Gibbs-White. They brought in a number of players, but ultimately you can't say the things that he said out in public to the public viewing. That's just not something, especially with a guy like Mr. Marinakis above you, watching your every move apparently. Like, you just can't say stuff like that. And so this appointment is big news for, of course, the Forest world, but also the Spurs world, because there's a lot of things that this means, and we'll talk about that later in the video. But let's just talk about face value. What does this mean for Nottingham Forest? Are they going to benefit from this signing? Are they going to drop off? What is going to happen? Man, I think being a Spurs fan and sitting through every single match last season, from Europa League to the league, for ultimately just throwing the league out and not getting anything, and going into every league match being like, I don't expect anything. I expect this. Here's what I expect: a 4-0 loss. Like, that's just what you kind of got accustomed to as a Spurs fan whenever you had the Europa League in your sights. You dropped everything. We dropped everything to win that trophy. And for that trophy, I am so grateful. What a lot of people forget to mention is the 5th place finish on his first season for Big Ange. He started the first 10 games of the season on fire. What, was it 9 wins in 10 games? Something like that? An outstanding, one of our best starts to a season for Tottenham in a long time. Ultimately, falling short of Champions League football and getting Europa League football because we kind of got found out towards the end of that season. Now, is that going to be the same for Nottingham Forest? I don't know. I think not having a preseason and not having a chance to implement his tactics, I think this is going to be the main talking point of the video, and really of Ange coming in, Nuno going out. This is what it is. The complete change in tactics from Ange and Nuno. So what we look at is Nuno is very counterattacking. Nottingham Forest have always been counterattacking. And with Ange coming in, he's very just like, go, gung-ho, stop passing backwards. It's who we are, mate. Like, that is him to a T. And is Nottingham Forest, one, do they have the squad for that? Two, are they going to be able to shift that quickly? Because we don't have a preseason. Like, we're in it. Like, these games matter. And I don't think Mr. Marinakis is going to want to fall off as much as they might this season with Big Ange being at the helm. So that is something to consider. Another thing to consider in regards to Forest is, this might mean they get a trophy. We've experienced it at Spurs. It's like, he came, he brought us a trophy, he got fired. That's just what happened. And what does that mean for Forest? I mean, maybe they get a trophy. Maybe they go out to win the Europa League as well. Who knows? You know what he says? He always wins things in his second season. Maybe it will take one season to get used to everything. Maybe they keep backing him. Maybe they keep supporting him. Second season, boom, let's go. We get a Europa League trophy. or whatever trophy competition that they're in at the time. So what does this mean for Spurs? I think it means a lot more for Spurs than you think, because December comes along, we play Nottingham Forest. It'll be the Frank versus Enge game. That's gonna be a big game, because a lot of stuff is gonna be said if we lose that game, if we win that game. There's gonna be so many narratives that are playing a part, and ultimately, this is what I think. Enge coming into the league puts a lot of pressure on Thomas Frank, because everyone's going to say, well, first off, Thomas Frank needs to finish above Ange Postecoglou. If Enge gets a trophy with Nottingham Forest and Frank doesn't, that's going to be a problem, because there's going to be so many fans with the question marks, especially Ange in people. They're going to be saying, what could have been if Enge stayed? We could have won the Champions League. We could have won the FA Cup. If Frank, of course, doesn't bring trophy or silverware to our club. That's a whole thing in itself. And of course, Enge's big season 3 was better than season 2 quote. There's just so many stories and narratives that you can play into with Enge coming into the Premier League. I really do think it adds a lot of pressure on Thomas Frank. Now, my personal thoughts, I think 2 things can happen. 2 extremes here. 1, Nottingham Forest ends up just like us last season. Injury-ridden, too open at the back. Got things like getting figured out every single week. And with that being the outcome, we all know, we've all seen Mr. Marinakis is very hands-on. You've seen him approach Nuno during a match, and he's not going to like the stuff that us Spurs fans had to go through last season. If Forest have the same things happen to them as us, he won't like that, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ange Postecoglou is sacked by January. Option 2. Here's option 2. They go on and win the Europa League, and Ange can look at all the doubters and say, I told you so. And that would be, and as a person who, I loved Enge and I appreciate what he brought to our club, I do think it was the right thing to sack him after Europa League, because 17th is just not good enough no matter what the circumstances were. I think Thomas Frank is a better manager than Ange Postecoglou, but the 2 things that could happen is, 1, they completely flop, he's sacked by January. 2, they go out and win silverware and they just look like brilliant people. But is that likely? Who knows? I don't even think there's an in-between. I think it's 2 extremes, that one and the other. So it's a crazy world. It's a crazy day in the football world. It is just, it's wild. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is Ange Postecoglou the right man for the job for Forest? What does that mean for Spurs? What does that mean for Thomas Frank? Let me know. God bless you. See you in the next one.